Welcome, lovely one, to the Meant for More podcast. My name's Lisa Clifford, and I am building the world's most empowering Meant for More movement, leading millions of heart-led purpose seekers from feeling insignificant to invincible. So I truly hope you enjoy this next episode. Hello, lovely ones. Well, you're in for another treat. I have mentally healthier Rick Stevens, and you're going to discover for yourself what a really super chap Rick is. I met Rick through Sammy Garrity. I have to say her married name. Sorry, Sammy Garrity's Impact Catalyst group, and Rick and I are both number one authors in the Catalyst of Change book, which we will talk about, because I so related to your chapter in it. You know, that busy equals success. Oh, and I think anybody listening right now might be thinking, well, doesn't it? And so we'll dig a bit deeper into that, if we may, in a moment. So, Rick, thank you so much for being with us today and for supporting the Meant for More movement, where we are leading millions of people into a purpose-led life where they have more balance and where they go from invisible to invincible. So thank you for supporting that.
Pleasure.
Let's start by asking you that moment where it's either a stirring or a yearning or a ache or just an undeniable knowing that you are meant for more. And having read your chapter in the book, it sounds to me like it was a bat round the head, never mind a stirring or an ache or a burning. Can you share with us a particular moment or a very significant moment where you just knew you were meant for more, and what that felt like and how you identified it? Give me all the ingredients.
All the ingredients. Well, being 56 years of age, I've had a very varied life and different hobbies and different interests and different jobs as well. One thing that's carried through all the way since I was a youngster is martial arts. I've done karate since I was 14.
Wow.
But in the latter years, the last 20 years really, I've met an amazing Chris Clifford. He's an amazing teacher.
Chris Clifford? Am I related to Chris
possibly,
Clifford?
I don't know. It did scare me when I saw your name. But we were at a cross since. But he's it's a lot more deeper than just punching and kicking, and it's how controlling. But then your movements control how they react. But then you're going deeper than that, and it's just subtle movements, but you're getting inside people's head. And that's always been a theme for the last 25 years, but nothing really sort of emanated from that. I joined the military, hardcore soldier, been to Northern Ireland, blown up and shot out in Bosnia. And then I joined the Metropolitan Police, went to a lovely little place called Brixton in South London, which people go, oh, but in a way it was good because the teamwork was so good, because you had to look after each other and you listened to radio where everybody was, because it was a hostile environment. The community didn't like policing, so we looked after each other, and that was a good thing. Got good teamwork, and then we shared around the joys and successes that we had.
Can I just ask?
Yep.
So you were in the police. What role did you have?
Well, that initially, for the first about 8 years, I was just a policeman on the street. So did the response driving. I was an advanced driver, so I drove the big cars faster. Public order trains, so you go around in the riot vans and sort of go football get matches and stuff like that. I was an officer safety trainer, so I taught my colleagues self-defence. That's come from my military and martial arts background. So teaching officer safety training. So I had a bit of a teaching role there as well, and I enjoyed passing on information. And then in 2005, I joined the explosive search dog section, which again is a big step, different way. So I've gone from Brixton of going from crack houses and drug dens to swanking around palaces and posh hotels, and being on call all over London. So it's a really varied role that I had, and some of the places I've been really fortunate to meet. I mean, you sort of look at the documentaries about art on the telly, and it's I'm there just searching Buckingham Palace, looking at this piece of art in its reality, and they go, only normal, exclusive people are allowed to will be seeing this because of where it is, and I was going past it week by week. So there's things that you start to take for granted, and within policing you become quite insular because of I do early dates and nights, and after sort of 5 or 6 years, people just get fed up with asking, "Are you coming out on Saturday night? Are you coming out?" And you're like, "Oh no, I'm working," or "I'm on earlys the next day, I can't drink." So people, you sort of lose touch with your friends and the social lives with normal people, and you just mix in the policing community. So, especially in the last 5 years, I could walk around Windsor Castle by myself and my dog searching, and I knew where I was going, and just there was bits of it that I loved to be in. Likewise, Buckingham Palace, and there was places that I was really fortunate to be in. But it was just run of the mill. Who's got Winter Castle this week? And oh yeah, I'm going down there. But then you mention it to outside the police, and they're like, where, what? And it becomes an interesting fact. Oh yeah. So you get sort of within policing, get sucked out of normality of life because it's hard to socialise because you're always on early selection. Especially in the last 5 or 10 years, policing's gone through the floor. There's not enough people, so you're always working, always expecting and asked to work. So that was where I was getting a bit burnt out and just putting more time in, and you start to miss the family growing up. But on the flip side, you get more money, and it's that sort of juxtaposition. Pre-COVID, we used to do dog training. So dog training as well, that's becomes a bit of enlightenment. So I enjoy teaching people. So I became a dog trainer as well. And then you start teaching the dogs how to do it. So within a dog team, you've got the dynamics of training people and an animal. But the people, they have their way of doing it. You can communicate with them. It's like, but why did the dog do that? And you've got to get inside the dog's head and the dog's drive. So that becomes a bit more understanding and just sort of a way of communicating to get the dog at its best. And we'd just blag our way into big posh hotels, big rooms, places we normally search, but we'd blag our way into hotels to do training. So the dog's in an environment it would be to search. And on one occasion at Heathrow, I met a chap called Carl Smith. I know you know him, and he's ex-police officer. Has got chatting to him, and through the martial arts as well. I've always been interested in hypnosis and stuff like that. So I was chatting to him about it, and he's going, "Oh, come in," and he actually gave me an online course free and have a look at that. So pre-COVID, I'd started looking at alternative things, and I did the online course, but didn't have the guts to go out and do it myself. So
hang on, when you say go out and do it yourself, do you mean as in actually do hypnosis on human beings?
Yeah, I tried it on my daughter once and nearly got there, but then I made a mistake. I knew where I went wrong, and then she's like, no, you're not doing this again. So I'd sort of lost confidence, and then COVID came in where you're not allowed to mix with anybody anyway. Went through COVID, and then coming out the other side of COVID, Carl also started doing a mental welfare coaching course, and that was looking at stress, how to understand stress, how it manifests, and how to get rid of stress. So doing EFT, hypnosis, but he had a good nutrition coach part in there, and a bit of understanding exercise as well. So going back into the army, I was a PTI in the army, so fitness has always been a thing for me through karate, the army, policing. I've always been a fit person. So that sort of followed through, and that really got my interest. So, and then with that as well, I've done Cole's trainer's course, so I can train hypnotherapy. But that gave me a lot more confidence. And knowing I was going to leave the police, I wanted to leave the police at 30 years, which was last March.
Congratulations.
Digging my tunnel, my escape route was learning hypnosis, mental welfare coaching, stuff like that. So it was a lead on to when I retired. And that's when it really sort of hit me. I'd started really, learning more about how the brain works, and understanding things like that, and just the power of language, and how you word things in a positive way or a negative way, and how you can control get the best out of people. And for the last year, really a year and a half, I've been training myself and getting my confidence in helping at it's not quite a charity, but Trojan Wellbeing. It's a peer support group for emergency services and military. And whereas policing and the military is a funny environment, if you admit you've got a problem, then you're sort of taken out of your day-to-day role. So police officers hide it well. So to go to someone external, confidential, you're not sort of highlighting you've got a problem, we're solving the problem. And so I've been helping those guys get over their issues with hypnotherapy, nutrition, and just encouragement to get out and move more. So I've been practicing for a year before I retired with that group. So my hypnotherapies came on, and then I sort of bought into the nutritional stuff. But with how I met Sammy was one of Carl's courses, and that was a sort of the time I was just listening to different things. And Sammy Garrity came up, and I was listening to. She had a podcast at the time. I was listening to lots of podcasts and just learning and taking on lots of information. And then I met Sammy in person, and she was one of the first people to go, "What's your why? Why?" And sort of, "Oh, I'm policing 30 years. I'm getting out. It's not good enough. It's not going to sell." And she's really good at sort of digging deep into you. And nobody's really sort of, one, got in, and two, dug that deep as well. So it's that trusting people in a way to get more out of it. And then I joined Sammy's Impact Catalyst group, and you start to meet, I'd say, normal people. What's normal? But different people outside of policing. So different people, different beliefs, different modules for their therapies and stuff like that. And that became a real sort of drive then. And then with that, with helping mainly police officers that were at rock bottom, I honestly believe you've got this ball of energy inside you. And part of the pre-talk to get people buying into hypnosis is, we're all made from energy. And especially with emergency services, you could say if you've seen a dead body, a lifeless body, there's something missing, that spark of life. And scientists can tell you how the lungs work, how the brains work, how the cardiovascular system works, but they can't tell you what that bit is that keeps you alive. And that's the bit that's really interests me. And I think we've just got this ball of energy inside us, and especially within the policing that I've helped, all the pressures and the toxic energy just pushes that down, and you sort of bury it deep inside, and it just gets sort of covered over, and it's just a mottled light comes out. And especially in the last 6 months since I've left work, I'm getting more sleep, eating better, and all that sort of stuff. It's like a Superman cape. I'm sort of pulling this open, and this glow is just coming out, this energy. And when I start talking about this, it might shine through that, I get really positive with it. And when I've got clients the other end of the screen there, I'm just going, "We can do this. You can get over this." And they'll go, "Oh my God, you just calm down." But it's positive energy that you've got to give out. And, in the belief. So that's in the last year, it's just honing my skills and realizing that, no matter what job, what we're doing, everybody's valuable. Everybody's a dad, a son, a brother, and that they're human beings, and everybody's got a remarkable story. No matter what, you sort of pass someone on the street and think, "Oh, he's a down and out," but someone loves him, and he's got that ball of energy. It's been pushed down. Let everybody shine out, and be positive and be who they are. Then the world's a better place. And no job should put you in that position. And it breaks my heart. Sometimes I've said to police officers that they're broken, and it's like, it breaks my heart. I've had 30 good years in the police. I've enjoyed it. Every bit about it I'm positive about. But if it's breaking you that much, I fully get why you're doing it. But if it's breaking you, nothing should affect who you are. That bit inside, they can't break that. They can push it down, but it's never going to be broken.
And we say they, and I think it can be as much us as externals, can't it?
Yeah.
It can be as much our conditioning that we put on ourselves, our commitment, work ethic.
This is the really weird thing. It's as a policeman, as a soldier, you've got rules, drills, everything is in place, and you don't break. There's rules and boundaries, social etiquettes. And I've come out the other side going, and my dad was always like this. It's, well, I'm equal to everybody else. There is no person better than me. There are rules for the social structure of things, but it shouldn't be rules that hold me down.
No, and I think that in our spirit of wanting to work hard, wanting to learn, wanting to survive. I mean, surviving being on the streets. I think when you're a policeman or woman on the streets, you don't know what's coming from where. And you also don't know what you're going into. So your nervous system must have been on high alert for 30 years.
You get to play the room, and
You get used to.
yeah, and that was it. My last year, I used to wear my medals at. I've got a fair few medals. Used to wear my medals near remembrance times and stuff like that. And I remember the MI6 building on the Albert Embankment in London. There's a suspect car out the front, so we had to block the roads off. And there was a big office block on one side, and people kept coming down, literally opposite the car. So it was going to, the explosives officer's there, he's going to do his bit and blow up the car, whatever. But these people had to stay inside. So I've gone to this office block, to the front door, and just said, and it's loads of young lads coming out for a smoke break between their lectures or whatever they're going on in there. And it's loads of young lads, and they just like looking over, going, what's going on, what's going on? I said, well, it's a suspect vehicle, you've got to stay inside. And they looked at me.
It's a what vehicle?
A suspect vehicle.
Okay.
So that, it could have been a bomb. It wasn't at the time. But so I'm standing there, and they're looking at me up and down. They're going, "You've got a bit of service. Because I've got my medals on." I'm going, "Yeah. Well, I've actually got 30 years in a couple of months, and I'm leaving." And they all looked at me and went, "Respect, man." And that was not what I was expecting, because I used to police that part of London as well. It was like, here we go, they're going to have a go at me. But it's like, no, respect, man. But you've seen a few things. That really put me on the back foot, because, like you say, you're always expecting hostility. You never know what's going to happen, but you've got to take charge of the situation. And
but also complacency can lead to, or comfort and complacency can lead to risk, can't it? Yeah. And so that again is your nervous system on high alert, and it just getting so used to it. And I wonder how much decompression have you had to do of your unconscious survival mechanism that's been in place. So if you've been in that environment for 30 years, the army first as a personal training instructor, were you? A physical training instructor?
Yeah, for unit PTI as well. So I just trained within the unit, yeah.
How long were you in the army for?
For 3 years. 3 years.
3 years. And then the police for 27, is that right? Or 30 years in the police?
It was 34 years service,
Then you must have got so used to having such a rigid fight or flight built in that it was in your norm. How long did it take to decompress so that you do feel calm and relaxed and in your flow?
I was very lucky, because going explosive search dogs, you're not that front line so much.
Say that again. You speak really fast.
Sorry. As explosive search dogs, when I transferred from Brixton, you're responding to things. So I'm not front line so much. So I'm not going out so much. Although we are in uniform, we get on the streets, I'm not dealing with them domestics and going into premises and solving problems. Although I'm in the background if I'm needed. But on the flip side of that, I'm going to terrorist-related incidents and having to take control of bigger scenes and direct people there. But that's where the drills come in, and the military training and the officer safety training for the self-defense type stuff. It's where your drills, and it removes that complacency. So you've got control of the situation, and the same way everybody knows what you're doing as well, and you know what everybody else around you is doing, as in your colleagues. So it's a pretty safe environment, really, but don't expect complacency. As officer safety trainer, just teaching the self-defense stuff on the street, it's like, this happens, and people do get stabbed and stuff, so you've got to bring a bit of reality to it. And likewise with the explosive search dogs, have you ever found anything? No. But when I'm looking for it, I'm not just running a dog around, I am going through the motions that I am looking for it. So you can get complacent in that, and that's when things get missed. So it's keeping to your drills, if you like, and keeping to your training that keeps it. And as for letting it in, I think anybody that's been in any services for quite a while, you get this big suit of body armor and you don't let it in. And that's the hardest thing to do. It's not so much decompressing, because I didn't let it come in that much. It's the allowing the other things in, and that's where this shift has happened as well. It's trusting other people. Not everybody is negative. Not everybody is out to get me, or slag off policing and stuff like that. It's me now. And you, like yourself, meeting genuine, honest people that just want to help other people. And it's just, and that's what sort of really just lifted me and driven me. That I'm from a world of negativity. I deal with people's problems. I see the worst in humanity all the time. That's what I've done for 30 years. And coming out the other side, seeing people that are honest, genuine, and want to help other people, it's sort of a reassurance, and human nature is a lovely thing.
Yeah, and we're in a world where everybody meets like it, aren't we?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've been self-employed 20 years, and I have my friends, the people I hang out with, the people that I'm interested in are all super positive. I don't have a Facebook feed that has people writing nasty things on or anything like that, and that's not my world. And yet I hear other people saying, "Oh, Facebook's so negative," and I think, I don't have that. I've just got really fabulous people,
And
and I think
you asked the question. It's like how long to unwind. I had 3 months leave, so I've finished just about this time last year, and then had 3 months leave. So from December to March, I was just at home on leave, building my business, and then March into the summer holidays. Then I'm like, because you do shift work, early, late, and nights. Each day is different. Each week is different. So when someone says, "What are you doing next Saturday?" you think, "What shift am I on to get there? Am I working that weekend?" And people, "Can you come out?" Yeah, of course I can, because I'm not working anymore. And it takes a long time to get out of your early, late, and night. It took 8 months before I looked in the mirror and I thought, "Your skin looks better. You look more awake." And I'm generally sleeping till about 7 o'clock in the morning now, instead of 4:30, which is the time I used to get up to go to work. So it's taken 8 months, nearly a year now, to totally get over it. So I was in the coffee shop. I go to the gym. There's a lovely coffee shop next door, having a coffee. And before drinking coffee, I've got to get home. But now I'm my own boss. It's like, but what have I got to get home for? I can sit and enjoy this coffee, take the dog for a walk, and then do my work later. There's no 9 to 5 for me. It's when I can, when I will. And it's just taking out that rigid times that I've got to be somewhere. My children hated it growing up. You've got to be there 5 minutes before, 5 minutes before. And it's yeah, but we haven't got to be there till 2. Yeah, we've got to be there 10 to, just in case we're not there at 5 to be there at 2.
Absolutely, because on time is late.
But in the last 3 months, this is really weird. I've just opened myself up to the universe. I've never worn a watch anyway. And I just go about my business, leave for places when I've got, and I'm there before on time. Like today, so I had to take my daughter, and I got here at 5 to 4, and the computer let me down to get on. But things are just falling into place. It's a really bizarre world I'm in now, from that rigid, disciplined culture of everything is regimented and be on time, to it'll happen.
It's kind of well, you've had the biggest rebrand, really, haven't you? Going from institutions, the army and the police, which is discipline, focus, structure, to now you being completely wild.
Yeah.
And free. And that adjustment, well, what was the biggest part of the adjustment for you?
I think it is just the not having to be somewhere. And that was literally 6 months. It's like every time you wake up, what have I got to do today? I haven't got to do anything. Especially in the summer holidays, I was just drifting around the country. So should we go here for a weekend? Should we go there? And I'm just sort of just tramping around the country, because
Tramping.
That's how I wanted to. I didn't want any. For the last 3 or 5 years, work has been. We had a unit of 50, and we were down to 35. So it was just constantly asked, "Can you work? Can you work? Can you help make the numbers up?" So when I left, I deliberately didn't want to do anything last summer, and I didn't. So underneath, I was sort of always building my business and putting things out there, but generally it was just no. I haven't got to be anywhere.
So was your meant for more moment then either burnout or potential burnout? Like you couldn't go on as you were. What was your meant for more moment where you thought I am meant for more than being in the police? I know that you were going to be you retired, but you could have stayed on. So what was your meant for more moment?
I think in the last 2 years, when I decided this is what I was going to do, it's like that there is more to life than doing earlys, lates, and nights, and doing more time.
Mm,
Because if, as in policing, if there's a terrorist incident or there's a big public order incident, they need more people. So you're always called in, things like that. If Trump suddenly come over for a visit, it's all hands to the deck. We'll be at work for 3 days, come home literally for 4 or 5 hours, back to work. And everybody goes, poor dogs, but they're sitting in the van half the time asleep, and I've got to stay awake and be proactive. But it's just throwing more manpower at it all the time, and that's how policing works. And is it a fault? Is it by design? You don't know when something's going to happen. So when you hear something's happened, if there was like the 7/7 bombings, we're sat at home, we're like, well, we'll come in because that's our job. So you just step up and you come in. So it's the constant, can you work? Can you work? And you're like, well, yeah, because nobody else can do it. So this expectation to keep going. And in the last 2 years, when I've decided to do my own business and start looking at how stress manifests and everything like that, and how the shift system affects your health, that you think that we should only do a finite time in that stress. And by the time like last year came when I was leaving, it's like I've done my time. I've given everything I can, and I've done my service basically. Now it's time for me to grow as me and help those that I can. That's where I've fallen into. It's like I found a great tool to help people, and that was my moment of I don't have to work all them hours to be happy.
Yeah, and that, in the book you talk about being busy doesn't mean success.
No, and that
And I see so many, even entrepreneurs, going to the opening of an envelope or having to be at everything because they've either created a machine that they've got to feed, so either they're paying other people's mortgages for them, employees, and so they've got to be at all those things because they've got to get market share, or it's a fear of missing out. That when I see people working that hard, I wonder whether they have got a what's the word, freedom and liberty, or whether they've just become their worst boss.
And that's it. And that's again pushing down on this ball of energy. You might have this energy to keep driving, but if it's just going to work, that's going to someone else. Once you start taking that step back and looking after yourself, for the last 15 years, I've stepped down there, but I was a scout leader, and my big recharges for work was once in Easter we'd go to Brecon, take loads of youngsters to Brecon, and I'd be a mountain leader, take them over the mountains. So that'd be 3 or 4 days trekking across mountains, which is my joy. And then in October we'd do Snowdonia, so it'd be a different group taking them over the mountains in Snowdonia. But they were my recharges. That it was for me, not the kids in a way. I'll take the kids with me and we have fun, but that was my escape to nature, escape all the traffic and the stuff, and just sleeping in tents, roughing it, but just getting out into that awesome world we're in. And if you don't do that a couple of times a year, then that stress is just building up. And as an entrepreneur, I'm very much now, I've had enough of business, but I've still got my dogs, so I'll take them for a good walk. Or like in the summer, I think I went to Wales 3 or 4 times, down to Devon, just traveling around the country and just to see nice places. We're here to appreciate. We're only here for 80, 90 years, 100 years at a push, on a millennia of the existence of the world. So it's a very short time. So why do it as a service all the time and just making money? Because at the end of it, does that make you complete?
Do you know what's really interesting? I saw there is there's this, I've forgotten his name. He's a Christian preacher, and I don't watch preaches preaching. I don't watch them, but I really like this chap. He tells stories, and he was saying, the average person lives until they're 70. If they're really lucky, they might live to 80 or 90. And he said, but if you look at this, like each day of the week is a decade. And he said, I'm through Monday, I'm through Tuesday, I'm through Wednesday, I'm through Thursday, I'm through Friday, and I'm about to step in, and I'm halfway through Saturday. How does that feel when you hear it like that and you think, flipping heck, I'm 55. I'm halfway through Saturday myself, so I've got a day and a half. And when you look at like, now I'm going to add another day on, he then said. And if you're lucky, most of us get a bank holiday. So we've got 8 days to fill. But when you look at how short life is, and somebody else was describing it as how many more summers they've got or how many more Christmases they've got with their
That's
family.
what gets me is when September comes, because you used to drive in for night duty, and night duty is the worst because it's daylight. Night time for darkness is very short. But you get to September and you come off your summer holidays and back into the role of going in, and you're driving into London at 10 o'clock and it's getting really dark. You think that's another year over, and that always gets me. It's
Yeah.
the end of the summer when it starts to get dark. You think that's another year over, and it makes me sad.
Yeah, and there's still 4 months to go.
Yeah.
But it's that thing of, if you think that if I'm going to live to 80, I've only got 25 more Christmases or 25 more summers. And 80, I should think myself flipping lucky if I live to 80. So
But you reflect on that. What did a 55-year-old woman look like when you were 10? They were sort of all
grandma.
aprons and
Yeah.
and that was
My grandma died at 54. She had MS and she was paralysed from the neck down. And she died at 50. My mum died at 34. So I'm flipping heck. 55 as a female in my family from my mum's side of the family. Blooming winning at life. And so in the book, you really talk about the balance and about being around for your kids and being, I know a kid, you've just done a driving lesson with one of them, so I'm guessing she's over 17 or 17. But being around for those important things, that's what true success is that balance, that enrichment in life. And what have the benefits been for you in your life, either in your body, your being, your mind, your reality, in making this massive leap? Has it felt like a massive leap? So there's about 17 questions in that. You just go with the one you've remembered.
It is a massive leap, but so I finished work before last Christmas, and I had 3 months off, but I still had a warrant card. I was still a policeman technically. So for that time, I was on leave. When I went in on that last day in March and handed over everything that I had left and walked out, there was a bit of freedom. That was just, and lots of police officers will tell you, it's just a weight gone from your shoulders. It was like just a little thing. I can say what I like on Facebook and nobody can criticise me, because a lot of police officers, they're the job looks at their Facebook accounts and what they're saying. They, just put one word wrong and they're having a go at it. So it's like just a little thing. Not that I would have a go at anybody, but I am free to say what I want without any comebacks. And it just makes you walk taller. And then finding your mission and understanding your why, it becomes a lot more deeper. So, I have a passion for helping cops, basically, that are, they've pushed ground right down. So let's build them back up. And that's what I've really helped with. And so everything else, my mentally healthier business, so I've done one-to-ones up until now. Now I'm trying to get mentally healthier, going into businesses and, get healthy, happy, productive workforce is my next drive. And that will fund me helping the cops, basically. that, when they're sick, off sick and whatever, on dire straits, they haven't got the money for proper therapy. So that's where I'm helping out. So that it is a big step, but I'm not scared of it. I've just, like I say, it's really bizarre that I've just gone, what will be, and things keep falling into place. It's like, I need a bit of money this week, and then some jobs come in. So I'll do a bit of driving for top-notch people, or I do other little things, but little things are coming in, and then that gives me a bit more money for the summer and things like that. So it's everything is just coming into place. So I'm just letting life go, and I'm saying yes to things. Do you want to come to this networking? Yeah, I haven't a clue what that's for, but I'll go there, and it's like, oh, hello, and just meet people. And will you come on a podcast? Yeah.
What's the dream, Rick, for you? What would just be the biggest joy for you in this chapter that you're in?
It's spreading the word that we are. Don't be driven by society. Be yourself. Off tangent a bit. I've been to several expos and emergency services shows and stuff like that, and I met some amazing people with some amazing stories that they're getting across. So there's Talk Tough. It's a male suicide, and they give an amazing talk. There's PTSD 999. They've dealt with they've been through rock bottom with PTSD and come out, but they're all individual charities. And when you're talking to charities, they've got to make money, and it's like, oh yeah, but I wouldn't share my list, my audience with you, because they're mine. It's my money, and you've got these amazing people that are in their own little pigeonholes. So my mission at the moment is to try and I'm collecting people with stories. So I'd like to fill an auditorium with corporate types of people and have these brilliant speakers talk about what they've overcome, their resilience, male suicide, stress, PTSD, eating better, all these sorts of things that can make you a better person and help you get over any issues. And that's my big thing. It's just to put that into existence. So for me, for the next couple of years, I just want to build this amazing resource of positivity to get people talking and just to get rid of all that crappy media rubbish that keeps coming in, and just be more positive. And life is good. Life can be good if you just ignore that narrative in the background.
And for those people that are feeling institutionalized, maybe by their Monday to Friday job, or maybe because they are in the police, and they have this feeling inside them that they are meant for more than what they're doing at the moment, what top tips would you give them?
Picture yourself in 10 years and ask, what if I didn't do it? What would have passed? And it's just seizing the moment. And there is time. There's always time. That you might be tired, but there are ways to eat better so you're not so tired. There's go and do some exercise so you've got the energy, and then I have done so many courses. I'm not educated at all. I struggled through all my schooling. I've never really sat down and studied, but having more sleep, coming off shift work, I've done immunology courses. I'm just about to finish a nutritional diploma. I've got a nutritional supplements course to do. I'm just collecting all these courses, and the information's staying in, and it's a real joy to study. So just read books. And someone said, a book is someone's knowledge, and that's their lifetime of information they're giving you in a book. And so the gift of reading is sucking in that knowledge of the world, and it's just a little bit of time instead of scrolling through the social medias. Just read some good stuff. Listen to a really good podcast. There's some good podcasts out there that just give you that little snippets of information that will drive onto that next. What's that about? What's that about? And ask the questions.
So, what would I feel like in 10 years' time if I didn't take action? And your chapter in the book, Embrace Your New Definition of Balanced Success. Rick Stevens, the Calm in Chaos Coach. Rick and I are both in this amazing book, Catalysts of Change. It's available on Amazon. It is already a #1 bestseller in several countries and sectors. Rick, thank you so much for joining me on the Meant for More podcast. And I'll see you very soon at one of Sammy's events.
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, good luck.
You're so welcome, darling. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you would like to be involved in the Meant for More movement, then please drop me a line at lisa@lisaclifford.co.uk. Whether that's you're interested in being on the podcast, taking part in any of the trainings, or would just love to know how you can help empower others, then let's have a conversation. Thank you for listening, and we'll connect again very soon.